Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and my name is Nupehadda, and today we have a very special guest here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Brendan. People call me Drip. That's usually what I call myself on the channel. It's short for Dripless. That's my gamer tag. So that's just a nickname I've adopted over the years. That people call me by that more than my real name. So I go by Drip or Dips, another one too. But yeah, today I got a very near and dear profile that I wanted to share on Nebula's channel. It's my favorite archetype of all time, has been since I was a kid. I just wanted to play it just for fun. It's not really that competitive. I mean, it can be that competitive. It just has to, you have to have the right hand and play through the multiple hand traps. It can play through a couple, but in this current build, I'm not really playing anything fully to play around Nibiru. But hand traps you can play through 2 easily with the proper hand, if not more. But with that being said, go ahead and make sure you leave a like on his video. Subscribe to him if you're not. And go ahead and check my channel out too. I'd greatly appreciate it. Team-DDD, I'm sure he'll have it linked in the description. Him and I go back and forth and do each other's videos and stuff for fun, crossover and stuff. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and get in the video, guys. I won't leave y'all waiting no more.
So what deck are we doing a deck profile on today?
Oh, we're doing the Blue Eyes. I don't know if I said, but yeah, sorry, Blue Eyes.
Okay.
Started off, it can't be a Blue Eyes deck without 3 Blue Eyes, and if you're playing Blue Eyes, it has to be DDS. There's no way around it. It's either DDS or a Ghost Rare. That's how we do it around here. And then to go along with that, we are running only one alternative, because you want to spill your guts on the board and then recur it if necessary. You don't want to have multiple bricks in hand. So I know you can call this a brick, but this is actually part of the combo, because if you open this next card, that's a Blue Eyes card that I'm about to show, and this build is beautiful. And we are running 1, 2, 3 eggs. 3 of the eggs is actually honestly low-key your best opener in this build, because this build, what you do is you summon this, go into a card that we have in our extra deck, and this chain blocks for you, and also fills your hand with these that you can shuffle all these back with Saryuja. So honestly, these get you these, and you can keep these if you want. If not, you can shuffle them back off of Saryuja, and it keeps you from drawing them when you don't want them, pretty much. And then honorary Blue Eyes cards, because it's honestly better in this deck than it is in any other deck, in my opinion. And that is, we're running actually 3, forgive me for the proxy. The third one's actually here, my buddy, team member, if you know me, Jeremy. He'll be here soon to give me the third one.
Can you explain what it does?
Yeah, this card is really gross. I wasn't a big fan of it before, but now that I've studied, it's really gross. This guy, when you summon him, you can send any number of dragon cards from your hand to the graveyard to search a dragon with that level. So say, for an example, if you wanted 8, you can send an 8, search an 8. You can send a 7 and a 1. If you had Tempest in here, which I was running Tempest, but I cut it. So say if you had Tempest, you can dump Tempest and dump this, get the dragon, and get another level 8 that you need. So if you needed this and this would get you this, and then this would also get you this. It's pretty gross, but on top of that, you can also send him from the field too. So if you can normal summon him and you don't want to lose nothing in your hand, you can just send him to the grave, search a level 4, because which gives you your baby dragons, your Collapsed Serpent and the Wyvern Buster. And on top of that, while he's in graveyard, you can banish him from grave to add back a level 8, which also adds back our Levianeer too, because we are running Levianeer in this build. Sadly, we're only running 1. But for more of the generic dragon support, that's all for the Blue Eyes engine, really. The next engine we got is just the generic dragons. And for that, we are running 1 Clap Serpent, 1 Wyvern Buster. Even though these guys are at 1 in this build, it doesn't matter. You loop them at least 3 times. It's really gross, and you can continuously keep adding these back to hand. These guys are honestly one of the best extenders you have in your deck. And then we have Mr. Arata himself. Honestly, you don't need to use his effect more than once per turn now. It was just a flex at that point. It was great when we had it, but I understand why he got eroded. But we run him because you have to. And forgive me, I know I have DDSs, but I don't have the ultimate Levy. I don't have that yet. Levianeer, if you don't know what Levianeer does, welcome to one of the most broken dragons in the game. A lot of people wanted him banned at one point, but found out he wasn't really the problem. His effect is you can banish 3 monsters from graveyard, mixture of light and dark. If you banish all light, you can resurrect any monster from your graveyard. You banish all dark, you get to rip a card out of your opponent's hand. And if you banish the mixture, you get to pop 2 cards on the field, which is normally how we pop the back row. For back row decks, we just pop. If we're going first, we rip 2. If we go second, we just blow up 2 cards. But what's gross is if you have Seyfert in grave and you summon Levianeer and you have him in grave, you can make a rank 8 with him or link him away, banish the Seyfert from grave to add this back to hand to summon him again. Granted, his effect is only a hard once per turn, but his summoning is not. So you can continuously keep looping him if all is necessary. It's really good.
So a bit of a recycling of your dragons.
Yes. That's what Seyfert does. It helps you recycle, which there's another card in here that is really good for recycling too. That's into the generic dragons. Then we can run 1 Noctivision. I really want to bump this card up to 2, but I can't because the deck count is so high. This card is really good, really stupid good. Because whenever you special summon a dark dragon, you can chain block with this guy. Because I'm going to say we are running the rocket engine in this deck. So what you can do is, let's say for an example, you normal summon your egg, right? You normal summon your egg. You link the egg away into Striker Dragon, and then you can also chain to that too. So you can chain this to chain block your dragon, your Striker Dragon, and your egg from being ashed. And then also when this is linked away for a link material, you draw a card. It's really good, really, really good.
So it's safe to assume that you're using link monsters in this build.
Yeah, this is the Dragon Link spam. It's more like Blue Eyes Dragon Link, if anything. And then, honestly, one of the best cards in the deck, Nebula Dragon. I've been a fan of this card since the pre-sales came out for the Chaos Impact when this card came out. It's really good. Well, when the list came out, I saw it. This card is really gross. If you have a level 8 in hand, you can special summon this and it in defense position, negate the monster's effects, but if you have vanilla in hand, it's okay. And then also when this card is in graveyard, you can banish it to add back a level 4 or level 4 light or dark monster. So if you have this in grave, you can or the Seyfert, you can banish this to add one of your baby dragons back to your hand. So if like you get Ash, you can play through it. It's really good. Honestly, want to bump it up to 2 as well, but can't find room. And then the last generic is Galactic Spiral because it's combo. This card is gross. It turns everything on your field that can have a level into rank 8. So if you had an egg, you could turn the egg into a level 8 and you can spam rank 8 spam. But when this gets sent to the graveyard, like if you detach this, it gets banished. So I would say you would need to keep it keep it as material, and then if you leave and go away, then it gets back in the graveyard then. But that's all for the generic dragons. Now on to the rocket support. We got 2 Tracer. Tracer's the best one. This card is just ridiculous. It's a level 4, and you can pop a card on the field to special summon another rocket from deck with a different name. It's so good, so good. And we're running 1 Silver Rocket and 1 Abzerrouter, because Abzerrouter is free and you can chain block, and on top of that you can, when this gets sent to the grave, you can add a rocket card from deck to your hand. I'm wanting to try to find a room to play that charge one or whatever it is, because once we make Savage, if they blow up my Savage, I can use I can't remember his name, it's like Rocket Charge or something like that. But when you can use it, like I could bring it out and send it away, and if someone killed my Borlo Savage, I can resurrect my Borlo Savage. It's really good. But the reason why we play this one is because every now and then you'll get hand trapped to death, but you'll still be able to find a way to get into Link 4. And you can, if you had this on field, you could special summon this, and then you can go into Boral Sword. Even if it's on turn 1, Boral Sword a target to switch to defense and rip a card out of your opponent's extra deck, and you get to look at it too. You get to pick which one. So every now and then, if they hand trap you to death, you'll still be able, if all is possible, you'll be able to rip a card out of their extra deck and potentially like ruin their combo. For hand traps, for the monster wise, the last 2 monsters we play is 2 Ogre, because Numeron is a thing. So sadly, I have my other my gold rare in another deck, but I have one of each. I like the original artwork. Numeron is a thing, and you can hit their field spell. And also, Hulk of Fibrax is a thing too, because if you hit Hulk with this, yes, they'll still get special summon their tuner, but they won't have the level 2 that they can make Link Ross with. So they won't be. They still might be able to do it if they run another generic level 2, Link 2, but they can. This hurts them a little bit. So it's Ghost Ogre, in my opinion, is more versatile in this format than a lot of people are like giving it credit for.
Are you going to try to keep that at 2, or do you want to increase it to 3?
I would like to increase it, but it's just the deck is so tight. I don't want to run a 60-card deck. I wanted to run 40, but with the hand traps, it puts me at 45. It's technically a 40-card deck with the exception of the hand traps. The other hand traps we run is Imperm, because it can't be stopped by Call by the Grave, and Numeron is a thing, Vexel, and everything else. It stops a lot of the monsters and stuff. Can't say enough. It's Imperm. And then these next 3 cards, they're all the same. I just had to prox them because I'm still waiting on my buddy to bring me the other 2, but ignore it. There's actually 3 of them. We got 3 World Legacy Guard Dragon. This card is such an extender, it's ridiculous. If you have any of your level 4 or lower dragons in grave, you just activate this, bring it back, you got additional body, and then you can also use this to move zones on your monster. You can move something out of your main extra deck and put it in the main zone, or you can move something over it, which helps a lot with the guard dragon sometimes if you can't seem to get both on field, where 2 zones are pointing at stuff. And then one of the best extenders in the deck. I know, sorry, I probably said that like 50,000 times, but this one really is, because it's not a hard one to turn. You draw 3, you can activate 3. That's just how it is. And it's a quick blaze spell too. Special summon rocket from deck. And then we played 2 power spells. Also extenders in their own right too, because if you once you link your blue eyes away and you get them in grave, or you foolish them, or whatever you do, you can just bring it back, and this also helps us stay in the grind game. And it protects too. And then we play the most broken card in the deck, probably. The best searcher, that is, at least. Chaos Space. And then we play pretty much Chaos Space, but not Chaos Space.
Can you explain what Chaos Space does?
Yeah, sorry, my fault.
Nah, it's all good.
Chaos Space is really good. It's a searcher and a draw at the same time. You take a light monster from your hand, and you can take a light or dark and dump it. And when you do, you search the opposite. So if you dumped a dark, you search a light. Monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. That is between the levels of 1 and 8. So 1 through 8 you can search. So if you dump a light monster, you search a dark monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. That's between 1 and 8. And then when this is in grave, you can banish this from graveyard to take a monster that cannot be normal summoned or set from the banish pile and shuffle it back. That's how we go through the baby dragons so many times, is because we summon a baby dragon, link it away, get the other baby dragon, summon it. Before we link the other one away, if this is in grave, you banish this, take the baby dragon, shuffle it back in the deck, draw a card, because this card, when you do that effect, it allows you to draw a card. And then when you link away that other baby dragon, you search that other baby dragon again. And then also if you had the other one in grave, you can take the Nebula dragon and add it back that way too. That's how we continuously keep looping through the baby dragons and make them feel like they're still at 3 again. Then we were running 2 trade-in. I was running 3 trade-in, but I got sick and tired of drawing double trade-in. in a 45 card deck. It's very frustrating. Then we run a one foolish and one shrine because sometimes we still need to get stuff in the graveyard.
Is there a particular reason why you only want run one shrine, or?
I don't like 2 shrine because I can get my stuff in grave other ways if I need be off of Dragon Ravine and well, that's just an extender. But Dragon Ravine and Foolish, and these guys give me enough stuff in the grave, or this gets stuff in the grave for me. This gets me stuff in the grave. This gets stuff in the grave. Everything for the most part gets stuff in the grave. And I'm not heavy relying on the graveyard. The only really card that really, for the most part, activates in the graveyard besides this is like, yeah, you can argue that the Dragon's Banished to add back or whatever. But it's really Galactic Spiral is the only one that significantly like really activates in the grave, but it can also activate in hand too. But this just dumps, and then this extends. This card is really gross. Definitely going second because once you have your graveyard completely full, let's say you have 1 monster, but and your opponent has 4. Well, if you have this, you can bring back 3 rockets from graveyard to pretty much equalize out your board and your opponent's board. But that's it for the main deck. It's 45. Onto the extra deck. The extra deck we got won't be a Blue Eyes deck without Spirit, and then Azure Eyes. It's really good because if like you're playing Emancipators and they have Block Dragon in the graveyard, you can negate it. And if you're playing Pendulums, everybody knows because this was the card that Pendulums hated back in the day. You can't, or anybody really, you can't summon more than 2 monsters at one time. So you tag out to this, and this resurrects your Blue Eyes, and this also protects all your dragons too. Then we also run, for the last synchro, we run Savage. We're not running the Link Ross build, obviously, if you couldn't already tell. We're not running the Link Ross and Halka 5-Rax build. I'm pretty much premeditating that stuff's going to get banned, so I'm trying to play around it.
Perhaps we can do a video on that at another time.
What? Yeah.
Predicting the ban
Oh,
list.
yeah, for sure. And then for the links, we got Striker Dragon for combo. And then it's typical that searches your field spell, you need it. Then we got best card in the extra deck, LP. Second best, Pisty. And then, hello, I'm going to fix your hand for you if you bricked. And then Heraldic Seal, the Guard Dragon combo. And then we are also for Link, we're running Romulus. I really hope that gets printed as a secret rare. I really think it's going to in the 10 of Lost Memories. And then for the last of the links, we are running 1 Apollosa and then 1 Boral Sword, mainly for doing excess damage when we need it to be done, and to also target Silver Rocket to rip a card if necessary, if it gets to that. That's all for the Link monsters. Now for the XCs, the powerful XCs, which 97 for combo. If you know me and you can see my profiles, anytime I run a level 8 deck, I'm going to be running 97 until it's banned. Because 97 gets you this, gets you this, and gets you this.
Now, I'm familiar with him only because in our first match that you recorded or anything like that, I completely lost against it.
Yes, this guy's really good in time. This guy's really good OTK. This guy's just really freaking good. His effect is you can detach, and he gains 1,000 attack for every rank on the field. So if you're playing an XZ deck, your opponent has ranks too. This guy will gain ranks to all on the field. But let's say normally combo is you'll have material on him, you'll detach, and if you go second, you summon him. You go first, you summon him. What you do is you'll take, this is just extra spare. You're always going to use this in material for the most part, unless you make him with combo if you just open nuts. But you'll go detach, battle phase, and since, let's say these are the only XCs you had on the field, he would be coming 9k. And he's the only one that can attack that turn, just an FYI too. You can only attack with him. But you attack for 9k. But for the most part, what actually is going to do, if you go first, you're going to summon this, Heart Earth Dragon. If you don't know what this card does, this card is really gross and honestly probably one of the best ranked 9s ever. Outside of True King of all Calamities. But this guy, when he has materials on, well, outside of him having materials, he has 0/0. I know he has 0/0. But any battle damage you would take if you controlled this, your opponent takes. That means also you can attack into their stuff too, and they would take the damage. He also cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, if he's destroyed by card effect, he comes back immediately as long as he has material on him. And then during your opponent's end phase, you can detach to banish every single card your opponent's played or set on their turn. So if you go first, they don't find a way to out it, you detach and banish their entire field during their end phase. Then what you would do is just immediately go for the OTK. You'll have one material on him, you'll detach. He allows you to grab a material from graveyard. 100. That's how you do it. Then you detach. He becomes, suck at math, 16, 17, 18. He becomes an 18K. Attack directly, game over. It's really good. Everybody knows what Hope Harbinger does. Redirect attack, negate a spell. That's it for the extra deck.
Do you want to do the side deck, or do you want to do questions?
I mean, we can do questions if you want.
Okay. I mean, it's all up to you.
That's fine. I like to keep my side decks a secret anyway.
Okay. So you said earlier that this is one of your childhood decks.
Yeah.
I take it that you have like fond memories of this deck and everything like that, or at least the decks from past.
Yeah.
Is there any particular stories you'd like to recall?
Sadly, I can't say this was. Oh shit, my side deck. Sadly, I can't say that this was the starter deck. Kaiba was actually my first deck. It was actually my second deck I've ever owned, but it was the first deck I ever really fell in love with. My first deck I ever owned was actually starter deck Joey. But it's one of those things where I just fell in love with the character when I was a kid of Kaiba. I love what he stood for. He had a lot of integrity. It's just the card itself is just so beautiful. I don't know. It's just mainly because of the memories as a kid, and you were just watching anime, and you just love the nostalgia of the Blue Eyes, how it was just like OP, and it was amazing. Sadly, I didn't play Blue Eyes when it was meta. I was actually out of the game back then, but so I didn't get to really play it in its heyday. But it's one of those things where anytime I played Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most part as a kid, I was finding a way to have it in my deck. No way around it. And since I've been back into meta Yu-Gi-Oh!, which it's been almost 3 years since I've been back in the meta-wise, I'm always trying to find a way to make it at least rogue. And I've literally loosely trying to find a way to make it rogue and just make a deck that's make it where it's a little different than everybody else's. I know you could probably argue that this is pretty similar to what someone else has already made, but I always try to put my own little twist on it and just think outside the box. Be the first one to break it, not really break it, but make it viable again. Since like we desperately need some support to make it like rogue / tier 2, tier 3-ish.
Speaking of support, how is your excitement about the 10s revealing those new cards this sport?
I love it. Outside of a couple of things, it's one of those things where when I read it first, I got super excited like a kid, and I literally did, guys. I jumped up and down from like joy. I literally did. I was a kid in a candy store. But then slowly, as it started to sink in, the trap card feels like, even though it has blue eyes in the text, it leans more to being a dark magician card. And then the ritual, pretty much the ritual card, the other spell card, I think the one that has like the blue eyes ultimate on the front or something. It hurts me because it has too many summoning conditions. Like the continuous spells, the one I'm referring to. Like it has too many like conditions that you have to do to get it to really work. Also, that would require us to have a little bit more support on the fusion end in order to get it to work. And unless you really ran like a heavy ritual build, if you ran the ritual build, it'll be okay. Like I got a spicy deck profile coming up soon with that, but it requires me to get the extra cards. But the one I really do like is the Successor Soul, the quick play spell. My biggest argument with that is the Successor Soul breaks my heart because it's not searchable off Bingo Machine Go. How are you going to make a Blue Eyes card that has Blue Eyes on it I know you can make the argument it's not a Blue Eyes card because it doesn't have Blue Eyes in text. It says level 7 or higher normal monster has Blue Eyes, right? Or you could say Red Eyes too, but it has Blue Eyes in the front. How are you going to make a Blue Eyes card and not put its name in the text to where it can be searchable and bingo machine go? It just, when I reread it and it sunk in that it can't be searchable, it really hurt. Because when it said send to the graveyard, that did it for me. Granted, there's a lot of decks that can't be targeted, but overall, I'm glad we're getting support. Only because it's more cards for me to play and add to my collection. But it's also makes me excited because I'm hoping that means there's more to come on that behalf.
This deck that you have right now, how long have you been working on it and play testing it and actually played it at locals?
Tonight is actually going to be the first time I played it in person. Sadly, I don't have access to a computer, so I can't play EDO Pro or Dueling Book. I mainly have to play solitaire in my head, or I know what's in the format, I know what's in the meta, I know what's in the locals and everything, so I play it in my head while I'm putting the deck together, and yeah, it is a giant headache. But Blue Eyes itself, this build itself, I've been playing around with for like months. Ever since MR5 was announced, I really picked it back up. Because before, the only build I really messed with was Invokes Blue Eyes, which I have another profile of that coming up soon. Because I'm trying to find every other variant I can make of this. But the Rockets, I just recently splashed in because, in my opinion, the Rockets are the most generic extenders right now, and pretty much to lean towards making it a Dragon Link Blue Eyes instead of a slow pure build and just run a bunch of hand traps. That's no fun to me. I love more combo-y, the better for me, and the fact that it has Blue Eyes in it is just amazing. But yeah, I've been working on it since MR5 was announced. Different builds. If you've seen on my channel, I have a bunch of different builds. I have a Crusadia Blue Eyes build, which is pretty good. You don't have to worry about no starters because almost the entire deck is starters. It had a very high monster count, which was still consistent. It didn't have enough extenders to play through multiple hand traps and actually to be considered a dragon deck. But yeah, wow.
Is there any decks that you think that this deck will have issues with?
It's very combo-y, so like any going second against any like serious control deck, it will have an issue with. Sadly, it's one of those things where I don't want to say something when I haven't played it yet, because I haven't played against nothing yet. But obviously, the number one downfall for this build is Nibiru. But my reasoning behind it, obviously, you can make Savage to get around Nibiru, but it's one of those things where, yes, I know Nibiru is a card, but I'm not going to lose sleep over that card because I'm going to play my game the way I want to play it. If I get rocked, I get rocked. Pun intended. But if I'm actually able to make my board, I don't think it's going to be really hard to break it. More of the story. I know every board's breakable, but you have to be seriously running a serious 1 second board to break it. Definitely considering Azuraz is going to be protecting all my dragons being destroyed by card effect.
Okay, and the last question, is there any ending messages or any shout outs or anything you want to do when it comes to this deck or in general that you want to tell people?
Just shout outs to the shop we play at, Paradise Games. Shout outs to you for letting me be on your channel. Shout outs to everybody watching the video. Shout outs to my man Jeremy, who's actually going to let me borrow the cards. We have an inside joke where we call him the Yu-Gi-Oh library because he lets me check out cards all the time and borrow them from him. It's hilarious. Shout out to Kaba himself, my man. And just shout outs to all the medical staff people who's actually holding down with COVID going on and everything. So yeah, they're the real OGs. But other than that, I think that's all the shout outs really I got. But other than that, like the video, subscribe to the video, and check my channel out too. We're trying to get we got a giveaway going on when we hit 100. We're at 94 right now. 94. 6 is all we need. Come on, I know 6 of y'all can go subscribe. We're gonna be giving away a Mega 10. Also, I'm myself too. I pre-ordered a case, which I'm gonna be not doing the pre-sales, but I'll have by that time I'll probably have a TCG affiliated link and stuff, and people can check it out and stuff. But other than that, that's all I gotta say. Good dueling. That's my saying. It's good dueling.
Well, and that'll be it, ladies and gentlemen, and we hope to see you in the next video.